Hey everyone, welcome to the best US Mint news channel on YouTube. I'm Son of a Silver Stacker. Today's date is the 21st of April 2025. In this video, I came across something at numismaticnews.net that I had to share with you. It was about gold in China. Yeah, that's kind of important. We talk about that. Then we're going to be looking at a coinnews.net article about the US Mint's circulation strikes. But before that, if you are new here, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you like. We're trying to reach 1 bazillion subs. It's a really big number. Not sure exactly how big it is, though, but I'm pretty sure it's ginormous. Also, we're always live, never edited, and always unscripted. I never know what I'm not going to say. Now, over here to moneymetals.com. Look at gold. What? Yeah, right? Look at that. Bingo! Yeah, up $66 and a quarter. That's remarkable, folks. Yeah, 34.06. Even Steven. Silver up 30 cents to 33.03. Platinum up 4.15 to 991.30. Palladium down 80 cents to 991.45. I tell you, 15 cents. You got parity right there, folks. Dr. Copper, how are you, sir? Good to see you. The doctor's in, up 5 pennies to 4.76 a pound. You're looking over here at an in-stock American Silver Eagle whose premium is $6.89 for a quantity 1 through 39. They got you paying $39.92. And could we see $40 at some point today? Yeah, probably. Now over here, look at this. Bingo. This is the sell to them price. Look at that. 34.14. That is $1 over 33.04. Now, the all-time high for gold. Let's check that out. Yeah, that happened on April 17th, 4 days ago, at $3,357.40 per ounce. Yeah, we blew right through that, didn't we? Yeah, we sure did. Yeah. And like I said, it's probably going to be new all-time highs all year long. But really, the big question is, what in the wide world of sports is going on with silver? Come on. It's like poking it with a stick. Do something, you know? Anyway, let's keep on keeping on. This is numismaticnews.net. All right. Article by Patrick Heller. It's titled, China's gold demand surges past U.S. in early April. What kind of gold are they talking about? This is dated April 18th. That was about 3 days ago. 3 days ago now. 2025, 6:07 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. All right. Inflows into Chinese gold ETFs have already surpassed quarter one totals. Quarter one totals of what? Outpacing the U.S. and signaling a powerful shift in global demand. Más fuerte. All right, let's keep on going. Yeah. All right. Early this week, John Reed, the senior market strategist at the World Gold Council, wrote that he was shocked to learn that Chinese gold exchange-traded funds saw more gold inflows during the first 11 days, wowzers, of April than they did in the entire first quarter. So 11 days versus 3 months, yeah, that's kind of a big deal, right? That's fast. That's a lot. That's quickly. It's rapid. All right. He further stated that the surge put China's gold ETFs increases in both ounces, 9,356,000, right? That's incredible in monetary terms of $29 billion in early April. That's 11 days, $29 billion. But is that really physical gold or is that paper gold, right? In early April, even higher than the gains in American gold ETFs. Okay, which have more than 10 times the assets under management. Now, I got to say, folks, do you own gold if you have an ETF? Well, that's what I asked the Google machine. Do you own the gold in a gold exchange traded fund? They said, no way. When you invest in a gold exchange traded fund, you don't own the physical gold itself. Instead, you own a share in its fund, and it's designed to track the price of gold, right? These ETFs can hold physical gold, but the investor ownership is in the fund, not in the physical gold. Yowza. So to me, that's like the ETF is like a wrapper. Does that make sense? A wrapper to the underlying investment. Kind of like picture like this. Somebody ate your candy bar and they left you the wrapper, right? There you go. No, at least that's my opinion, because if you don't hold it in your hot little hand, you don't own it. That's my opinion. I'm going to keep on keeping on. Last year, all right, with China's real estate and stock market teetering and banks. Now, this is, remember the backdrop of what we got going on right now with the trade war with China, right? Last year with China's real estate and stock market teetering and banks looking shakier than usual. That's right. Just remember, they are really on the edge over there. There was a huge increase in private gold demand in that nation happening right along with the central bank's continuing addition of gold reserves. And this is really what's funny about all this whole story. Chinese gold imports were insufficient to meet demand, so investors started purchasing future contracts on the Shanghai futures market. That's another one of those taking over the COMEX. You know, they're just outpacing all of it, right? All of the precious metals are headed east. That's what they say. The combined demand for gold on the Shanghai Gold Exchange and Shanghai futures markets eventually exceeded the volume traded at the U.S. COMEX markets. Yeah, I mean, and that's pretty much what people have been saying for quite some time, is that the focus is going to be shifting east, and well, that's happening. But really, the question here is, there was some time when they said, well, the Chinese central bank isn't buying gold anymore. And they said that in public. Now, what are they doing in private? Well, I would say they're probably still acquiring gold any which way they can. However, if they're posturing into the public eye, right? Because words are how you pretend who you want to be, and then actions is who you really are, right? So I think their actions are, well, they're buying gold behind the scenes, and then who they're pretending to be is saying, well, we're not really buying any gold anymore. Yeah, I don't think so. And so what that means is maybe they're deceiving their public, and that's why possibly the public is buying the exchange traded funds, or maybe they really can't get gold in China. Wouldn't they buy jewelry if they could? I mean, think about it. If you couldn't get bars, I mean, what would you do next to get a hold of gold, right? I mean, there's different avenues of buying gold. And well, if after the coins and the bars, what have you got? Like jewelry, right? And after jewelry, what other gold products are they? And would you even jump into the paper market of an ETF? That's an interesting question, isn't it? It's one of those things. Like I said here, central bank has reported for several months that it had not added any gold reserves. Do you believe it? It says here, however, some gold imports into China during those months did not go through official reports of gold movements. There you go. China's central bank likely continued adding gold reserves, even in months when it claimed it didn't. Yeah, they revised their numbers later, right? That's all they have to say. China's central bank acknowledged that it had added gold reserves in December 2024 and has reported adding gold reserves in each of the 4 months since. There you go. All right, the big news for the gold market in the first quarter of 2025 was the surge in gold imports into the U.S. from the London Bullion Market Association. That's the LBMA for the second quarter of this year. The major gold news may be the surge in Chinese gold demand, both private and government. There it is, folks. So something big time is going on in the gold market, and that, I think, is just going to further drive these prices here for gold beyond what we're seeing here today. Now, that's my, I guess, opinion, commentary. Now let's go here to coinnews.net. There's an article by Mike Unser dated April 18th. U.S. Mint produces 670.42 million coins for circulation in March of 2025, 1.88 billion in the first quarter. That's right, 3 months. So, yeah, remember I think it was, I want to say, gosh, is it February 9th? The new administration was like, well, we're not going to make any more pennies anymore. And then they struck almost half of the circulation coins were pennies, right? So, that maybe they didn't get the memo, or maybe they had to run through the planchets that they had already purchased, right? So I think the future of the penny is still up in the air. We don't necessarily know where the Treasury and the United States Mint's going to go with this. Now, obviously, it takes legislation from Congress to actually get rid of it altogether. However, they could just stop production with the stroke of a pen, or just to enter on the keyboard after you send your email or whatever. So there it is. That's what we're going through. And is this the last year of the Lincoln cent? Did you buy any Lincoln cents when the mania hit in February after we heard that information right after the Super Bowl? Yowza, right? That was incredible. So let's keep on keeping on here. It says the United States Mint produced just over 1.88 billion coins for circulation in the first 3 months of this year, reflecting an uptick, right, from last year's first quarter pace, which marked the slowest start since 2010. And that's really what gave us those wonderful opportunities for those Jefferson nickels. You should see yesterday's video about those Philadelphia strikes. That's kind of interesting, how the United States Mint misreported those numbers. They had got all the way to 77 million for the Philadelphia strikes, and then ultimately 55, and then back to, I believe, 38 or 39 million for the Philadelphia strike, Jefferson nickels of 2024. So yeah, that's kind of incredible. Really is quite something. And I got to say, the only way I even found that out last year was because I buy rolls of coins, not necessarily the quarters, but I'm talking Lincoln cents or Zinken, whatever you prefer, Jefferson nickels, and the Roosevelt dimes. I buy a roll of each, right? Philadelphia and Denver. You get some nice examples in each in the beginning of the year. And I couldn't find any of those Jefferson nickels last year at all. And what's interesting is, last time the United States Mint produced this, limited amount of nickels was in 2009, okay? And they actually went out and said, hey, due to certain circumstances, we're not going to be striking any more Jefferson nickels. And I think that was in April of 2009. Well, I think in March of 2024, I was like, okay, where are these bad boys? They're nowhere to be found. All right, so that's a whole different story for another day, but that's what reminds me of this. It's the slowest start since 2010, 2009. All right, now it says here in March, all right, U.S. coin production rose to a 5-month high, marking the second highest monthly total over the past year, according to newly released U.S. Mint manufacturing data. Still, output remained below the 1 billion mark for the 19th consecutive month. That's huge, folks, and I got to tell you, there's a reason why, and I think it's going to get lower and lower. A sharp contrast to earlier periods when surpassing that level was almost routine, including a stretch of 8 straight months just above before the current trend began. And if we look and compare the numbers just after the COVID introduction year of 2020, and we look at 2022, 2023, we can see that mint numbers for circulation strikes were in the billions per month, right? That was just incredible. Nowadays, though, I believe we are going to see circulating coin production go lower and lower due to the fact that we are coming upon the semi-quincentennial for 2026. You know, back in the day, when we celebrated the bicentennial, the United States Mint actually got those coins into production in 1975. That's why you will never find a 1975 quarter. It's dual dated 1776, 1976 with the drummer boy on the reverse, right? So that's how that went down. Now, for 2026, there's only 1 year that's going to happen because we have to wrap up the American Women quarters. They could have done something on the other circulation strikes, but yeah, not so much. Not so much at all. In fact, I would say they probably neglected the semi-quincentennial, and I'm not sure why, but that's my opinion. You know, we are in the great American coin renaissance, and there are plenty of designs to look after and plenty of work for the CCAC and the CFA to look over coins designs. I mean, they're busy every quarter, no doubt about it. But really the problem, I think, is for the United States Mint, the Federal Reserve, and the Treasury Department to get those semi-quincentennial coins out into the wild. I think that's going to be the biggest problem. And I think they can facilitate that, or at least get that to the point where the demand for 2026 coins is out there by kind of, I don't want to say starving the 2024 coins, but really ultimately, I think that's going to be it. We'll see some high numbers in the beginning of the year, and then I think they're just going to taper off all the way until December 2024. Now let's keep on keeping on. It says here, the U.S. Mint struck 670.42 million coins for circulation in March 2025, including cents, nickels, dimes, quarters, and half dollars, reflecting a 15.3% increase from February and just over twice the amount produced in March of 2024, up 101.4 or 5%. That's tremendous, folks. That is like wowzers. All right, here's how March production compares to previous months over the past year. And I will leave this link for this article so you can check out this data. But really, I mean, look at this. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and then 6, 7. So yeah, definitely increasing 2, 5, 3. And typically, what you see for December, well, yeah, 9th. That makes sense. But look at this for July and June. Typically, those are months. Those are heated months for production. And look how low that was, 168. That's incredible. The U.S. Mint's primary mission is to manufacture coins in response to public demand, produces, sells, delivers circulating coins to Federal Reserve banks and their coin terminals, ensuring commercial banks and other financial institutions have the necessary supply. And I think what they should add to this is that, you know, kind of the process of how that works, right? So the U.S. Mint will actually not roll these up. They will not put them in, you know, those coins that you get on eBay, the rolls of the Lincoln cents and the Jefferson nickels and the dimes. Yeah. Those are not rolled by the United States Mint. They send them over in a big tub, right? And then the Federal Reserve sends them out to the banks where they're rolled then, right? So think about that. Yeah, that's why sometimes your coins look like they're all beat up from the feet up, especially those enders on rolls. Man, that's brutal. All right, despite costing the Mint 3.69 cents to produce and distribute each penny, the Federal Reserve consistently orders more of them than any other denomination. Well, there you go. That's the penny that we're not supposed to make anymore, right? In March, the Mint struck 328 million Lincoln cents, Zinken cents, accounting for almost 50% of all circulating quality coins produced for the month. I'd change that a little. All right, the future of the penny, however, is increasingly uncertain. On February 9th, President Trump ordered an end to its production, calling the move a step forward toward reducing wasteful government spending. And really, it's just symbolic, right? I mean, it doesn't really mean anything because the Mint does not get any taxpayer money. They have something called seigniorage that, well, there you go, right? So Yeah, it doesn't really mean anything. It's kind of pointless, but that's the way it goes. It's just, one of those things. Far too long, the United States has minted pennies, which literally cost us more than 2 cents, Trump said in a Truth social media post. So this is so wasteful. I have instructed my Secretary of the U.S. Treasury to stop producing new pennies. Let's rip the waste out of our great nation's budget, even if it's a penny at a time. It's symbolic, remember? Purely. All right, in the first quarter, the U.S. Mint produced 923.4 million Lincoln cents, down from more than 1 billion in the same period of 2024. But still, yeah, that's after the memo, right? Did they not get the memo? Well, maybe. Maybe not. Month over month comparisons for coins commonly used by Americans. March production saw 7.1 fewer Lincoln cents, 1% more Jefferson nickels, 16.3% fewer Roosevelt dimes, and look at that. What? Yeah, look at that. 371.5% more quarters. And wouldn't it be cool? The United States Mint doesn't necessarily just make only coins for the United States, but wouldn't it be cool to find out what circulation strikes we make each month for other countries? Yeah, because the U.S. Mint isn't just doing those, I believe. Now, it says here mintages of Native American dollars and Kennedy half dollars. I'm not going to go over that. You can go over that. I want to get to the quarters. This is the big deal for me. All right, this is U.S. Mint's following table. Circulating coin mintages in March by production facility, denomination, and design. All right, so you got Denver, Philadelphia, and then the total of those two mints. And it looks like Denver is just rocking for the month of March, outpacing them in almost every category except the Kennedy half dollar. That's quite something. Now let's keep on keeping on. Here we go, the first quarter of 2025. During the first quarter of the year, the United States Denver Mint has struck 920.58 million coins, and the Philadelphia Mint has struck 965 million coins. Now, bringing that total to almost 2 billion coins, right? This is 8.8% more than the 1.7 billion coins manufactured during the first quarter of 2024, which marked the lowest quarterly level since the first quarter of 2010. Remember, last year was amazing for circulation strikes, particularly the Jefferson nickel. Now, this year, folks, it's going to be all about, I believe, the American women quarters, particularly the ones that are coming out shortly. I think that each following issuance is going to be lower than the one before it. I really do. Now, this says the next table lists coin production totals by denomination and U.S. Mint facility. We kind of talked about that already. That's year to date. Now, if the current production pace continues through December, the 2025 annual mintage would top 7.5 billion coins. For comparison, U.S. Mint produced just over 5.6 billion coins for circulation in 2024, marking the lowest output since 2009. And it really had everything to do about those Jefferson nickels, I keep telling you. All right, lastly, Mint data showed 166.2 million quarters were struck in March, with 2.2 million more featuring Ida B. Wells. Isn't that interesting? And 164 million more honoring Juliette Gordon Low. That's the lowest one of the series so far. The Wells and Low quarters are the 16th and 17th releases in the Mint's 20 coin American Women quarter series. After factoring in the Mint's March figures, quarters honoring Ida Wells now total 99.5 million from Denver and 106.35 million from Philadelphia, for a combined total of 205.85 million quarters. Now, quarters honoring Juliette Gordon Low stand at 86.2 million from Denver, 82.2 million from Philadelphia. Now, these folks are not the lowest struck quarters in American U.S. Mint history. No. Some of the best lowest mintages are the ones from the America the Beautiful quarter series. Early on in that series, in 2010 through 2011 and 12, you can find mintages down in the 30 millions, maybe even the 20 millions. It's quite something, quite remarkable, and yet you can find them for very reasonable prices. It's quite something. Now, the U.S. Mint began selling Ida B. Wells quarters in early February, with the Juliette Gordon Low quarters released in late of March. Right, so yeah, and here we are, late April. This year's third of 5 designs celebrating Dr. Vera Rubin is scheduled for release sometime this summer, and I can't wait. It's my favorite quarter of the year so far. Now let's go to the plus ones. I've yammered for a long time. Need a sippy sip of soda or something. All right, this is Proverb 21, 25, and 26. It says here, number 25, the lust of the sluggard will kill him, for his hands refuse to work. Number 26 says, all day long he will court lust, and the righteous one will give to him and not hold back. What does that even mean? Is he going to do something gnarly? Well, no, I don't think so. I think this is what it means. A lazy person right here has only desires, right? The lust of it is desires of a lazy person. but no accomplishments. Oh, that poor guy. A righteous person, however, accomplishes for himself and teaches others as well. That's the whole back part. Now, let me help this guy out, right? Like, he's doing it wrong, or maybe, maybe the sluggard has, a lust of opening a business, but he doesn't know how to do it, right? And because he's scared. Who knows? There's a lot of reasons why people refuse to work. But I heard something really interesting. It was a meme the other day. It said, if you want to turn $40 into 400, all you got to do is put the $40 in your gas tank and drive to work for a week. That's what I heard. Now let's go over here to 395 99.9 KOIN Coin News Radio. This is Van Halen, Unchained. You ever become unchained? Yeah, nothing stays the same. Now, with that said, I want to thank you all for coming. Thanks for dropping by. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you do like what you're going to see, please sub the channel. It's absolutely free. Now, I think that's about it. I think that's all I got. Y'all have a wonderful day. I don't know that I'm going to go live today, but if I do, you'll see it up there around 10 o'clock. Stacker up.